let's move on to what is running today. Of course, we begin with Men's Gold, and calm has returned to the offices of the gold dealership firm after earlier confrontations between officials of the company and customers. That this follows a decision of the company to temporarily halt its gold dealership business until September 19. My colleague Ebenezer Sabote has been on the ground and filed this report.
In the early hours of Thursday, some customers besieged the premises of Joel and East Legon branches of Men's Gold Ghana Limited. This is due a letter sent to customers informing them of a temporary shutdown of the company's gold trading operations. Upon inquiries, they expressed optimism that their investments are safe despite moves by the Securities and Exchange Commission to halt its operations in gold derivatives. The situation was, however, controlled and calm returned to the premises later on.
So behind me is the office of Men's Gold Company Limited. Some of the customers earlier besieged the premises of the company, trying to access their dividends and their funds. Others explained to me that they've heard about a close down of the company in the news, so they came in to verify the situation. What is happening here now is that the company is temporarily not operating today until 19th of September. So some officers of the company, or let me say relationship officers of the company, came out to explain to the customers that they could not be able to access their funds nor do business today, but at a later date, that is after 19th of September, they could be able to come back to do business. Men's Gold is temporarily not operating the gold business, but any other business is allowed, so they could be able to come back to do their business. I was at the Jowulu office of the company earlier in the morning, where some customers of the company decided to manhandle us, but unfortunately they couldn't succeed. So the situation here is calm. Security here is very calm. Ebenezer Sabote for Joy Business.
All right, you're still watching Business Live. We will be getting a reaction to all that is going on from the Public Relations Officer of Men's Gold, George Quay. He has been speaking to Joy Business about working with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Do we have that? Okay, we don't have that. Let's move on to another story now. A tremendous leader of progress has been laid to rest today. The former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, he was laid to rest today. We have been looking at his contribution to improving the lives of people around the world, including the creation of the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa that was geared towards improving the lives and incomes of smallholder farmers. Here's a little tribute to him.
It was the late Kofi Annan's call for a uniquely African green revolution to ensure that Africa can feed itself that led to the creation of the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, in 2006. It was to improve the incomes and livelihoods of African smallholder farmers. Among the goals of AGRA was to double the income of 20 million small farmers by 2020, reduce food security by 50% in 20 countries, and ensuring that at least 15 countries are on a path towards sustainable and climate-friendly green agriculture. Billionaire Strive Misiyiwa, who is currently board chair of AGRA, said Mr. Annan had left a lasting legacy in the quest for a food self-sufficient continent. President of the African Development Bank, which AGRA partners, Akinwumi Adesina, in his tribute described the late Kofi Annan as an outstanding champion of development whose footprint through his actions and words will forever be remembered. In 2016, Mr. Annan co-chaired a special panel on accelerating the implementation of the Africa Development Bank's 10-year strategy. The late Kofi Annan was no doubt a great global icon.
And he'll be sorely missed. May his soul rest in peace. Well, let's get back to issues to do with Men's Gold. As I was saying earlier, we've got reaction from the Public Relations Officer, that is George Quay, to all that has been happening. He's been speaking about the gold dealership firm's resolve to work with the Securities and Exchange Commission to quickly resolve the impasse.
I'll have to finish this one first. It has been going on for quite some time now, and if you did read their communique, it even stated clearly that sometime in August they were here, and from every indication they have been in communication with us, and despite the unfortunate nature of the statement or the document that was released today, because it was a letter written to us privately, and it's not something that ought to have been out there in the public. I'm sure somebody was just playing the mischief and decided to leak it to the public, which was really unfortunate. But our legal advisors, our counsel is working diligently on the matter, and I'm sure at the right time, once all, T's are crossed, I's are dotted, we would arrive at an amicable solution. We are positive of that.
And what is the communication to customers? Because interaction with some of them, it gives me the sense that they don't feel their funds are secured here. What has been the communication so far, and how do you intend to resolve or settle every one of them?
Yes, naturally. I mean, it is their investment, and you don't expect them to be happy when, documents like these leak to the public. But just as we've assured them over the years when things like these have come up. I mean, this is not the first time a communication of such nature is being disseminated to the public, a lot of the times on our blind side. It is very unfortunate. This isn't the time, but just as we've assured them in those past times, in those moments that things like these have come up, we want them to rest assured in us that we're doing whatever it is we can to protect their interest and their investments. And an investment in gold is a solid investment, and that is why we put measures in place to ensure that each and every customer is protected and their investments are safe. I cannot say much except for the fact that they should look at the previous moments where we've had situations like these before and how we've weathered that storm. The organization is going to make sure that this one too is resolved and their investment will be protected.
All right, you're watching Business Live. We are taking a short break. When we come back, we have a discussion about the city.
Welcome back to Business Live, and let's do our main story today. Some analysts are projecting the Cedi will hit 5.3 Ghana cedis against the dollar if the current depreciation trends persist. They also blame the Bank of Ghana for the Cedi's free fall, as some say the central bank is conniving with the black market operators. Odilia Ntiamu assesses the depreciating trend, I must say, of the Cedi, and has the following report.
10 a.m. at Abosokai, and activities here are slow. The Cedi depreciation is already biting. The interbank rate of the dollar against the Cedi that was in 2017 was going for some 4.3 Ghana cedis against $1. Today, the forex rates are really going out of gear. As much as 5 cedi to the dollar is what is being quoted at certain forex bureaus. The people that really get affected are people right here. About 5,000 importers of spare parts here at Abosokai. What they indicate is that, well, their profits are fast eroding, and if nothing is done about it, several of them could lay off certain workers that work with them, or probably even close their shops. Importers feel the pinch first from the point where they have to change cedis into dollars to import, then at the ports where they have to get their wares cleared. Ghana charges in dollars for import duties. Importers will have to find the exact amount in cedis and pay. That, for importers, coupled with the performance of the Cedi, is just too much.
Even the amounts we pay on duties itself goes higher because they use the dollar to calculate the duties for us. So basically, it compounds the problem because when we have to exchange, we have to use more cedis to get the dollar, and then when the goods also comes in, we have to pay more. So at the end of the day, it kind of affects us in a way. It affects us in a way. Besides that, when people normally say that, oh, when it happens like that, we only add up to the price. But here's a case that people are not even buying.
Within a space of 3 months, profits have eroded by close to 60%.
If it goes on like this, a lot of our people or a lot of the businessmen in Ghana will be out of business. Because how long can you keep on adding? It will come to a time all your capital will go away. And even if you have to even borrow from the bank, the banks are not going to borrow to you freely. Definitely you have to pay. And you all know the interest rates currently at the bank, even though policy rate is going down, but the banks are not responding. On a scale of 1 to 100, I would say it has eaten into our profit maybe about 60%. Yes, about
within 60. What period of time?
Within these 3-4 months that the city has fallen, and if it continues like that, it will go further.
All right, so my colleague Novan Akwaheford is here to give us further details about the performance of the Cedi. Thanks so much for joining me on Business Lab, Novan.
Well, thank you.
So give us a general view of how the Cedi has been performing so far.
Well, Sandra, over yet to date, just as Odelia said in her report, last year around the same time we had the Cedi trading at 4 cedis, I think 43 pesos. But as of this morning, it actually opened trading on the interbank market. And when we say interbank market, we are looking at the quotes that the commercial banks in this country would use in, giving those who are looking for dollars for transactions. And that was 4 cedis 95 pesos. And that was it. But what is interesting is that if you check on the Bloomberg terminal, you see that as of now, it's trading at 4 cedis 80 pesos.
That's almost 5 cedis.
Yes, it is almost 5 cedis. That's about 20 pesos short of hitting 5 cedis. But on the ground, if you went into these forex bureaus, black market as we call it, you get there and then you're talking about 5 cedis 20 pesos, 5 cedis 30 pesos, which is almost what some analysts have been predicting for us. And if you look at this trend, is basically because around this time of the year, you have a lot of traders who would want to import goods into the country for the Christmas festivities, and so they are looking for dollars. Also, the fact that you have what you call companies who probably half year will have to return profits, and so they are repatriating
so
this
profit.
profit.
It's a seasonal thing.
It's a seasonal thing that keeps happening, cyclical, I will call it, and we need to be able to stem this kind of tide. But just that almost every now and then, you don't see it come down, but wherever it has reached, it piles on or it moves on. And that's where the problem is.
That's quite confusing for me why it doesn't come down when the situation stabilizes. But moving on, I'm sure that it's not all that bad for everybody. Exporters will be benefiting greatly.
Well, interestingly, the exporters are singing good songs or singing praises, if I'll put it that way. Why? Because they are exporting outside and their goods are being bought and they're getting the hard currency, which is the dollar. And so when you bring the dollar into the system and then you have to change it into cedis, they get more money.
That's a lot for them.
Yeah, so any company that as of now is into export is singing good tunes.
And those who are important are rather crying.
They are the ones who are crying. But you ask yourself, how many companies or how many firms are exporting in Ghana?
Because we do more import than export.
Exactly. And the problem also has to do with the fact that we haven't added more value into some of what we export. So if you are exporting the raw cocoa beans, that price that you get, producer price, is quite different. How about if we make sure that we have chocolates and other things out of the cocoa, and then we took it to the international market? You've added value, so you have a high, increase in terms of what the returns that you get.
I'm sure the central bank has been doing a lot with regard to trying to stabilize the situation. We've spoken about they having more reserves, which they claim should have been able to solve the situation, but that's not quite what is happening on the ground. So what is the Bank of Ghana doing to be able to stabilize the situation as we speak now?
Well, what can the Bank of Ghana do? Okay, so you want to show off the city, stabilize it.
But they are supposed to solve the problem.
Exactly. So what you do is to pump in some dollars, because the problem is a demand.
That's in short term.
Exactly.
So the long term, what should they be doing?
Demand and supply situation.
Okay.
And if it's a demand and supply situation, what can they do so much? The economy of this country is an import-led one. And trust me, we need to fix those fundamentals. And I'll take you back to when Ghana decided to redenominate the currency. In 2007,
that was a good thing that we did. We did by making sure that 1 cedi is to $1, because around that time, remember, the cedi was hitting the roof as against the dollar, and then we dominated it. But what did we do to the other fundamentals of the economy, ensuring that we could move the economy from an import-led one to an export one? And the fact that you also have, any time the Americans or Trump and his people decide that, look, we want to hike interests, as far as our Federal Reserves are concerned, you will have the impact.
All right, sure. I'm sure this cedi thing is a headache to a lot of people. A lot of people are crying about the cedi. So we have a common platform that the Joy FM group or the multimedia group is putting up today. And so what should the public expect from the cedi forum that is coming up today at 6 p.m.?
Oh, of course, tonight, if you have just closed from work, I'm sure a lot of people are leaving. It's 5 o'clock, they've left the office, and you have headache as far as the cedi and its performance is concerned, which is a call for concern to all of us. I think that you have to drive straight to the University of Ghana, Ms. Arthur's auditorium at the City Center Economics Department. That is where we are assembling.
We have all the big shots coming to speak about the cedi.
In terms of people who can, suggest or profess solutions to the way the cedi is performing and will tell us how this should be done. Of course, the Bank of Ghana themselves are going to have people there.
Thanks so much, Norman. So it's happening tonight at the University of Ghana campuses. Just make a date with the Joy FM group or the multimedia group to be part of this program. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana is promising businesses and banks of adequate supply of dollars to help firmly stabilize the cedi before the end of the year. Head of Financial Markets of Bank of Ghana, Stephen Opata, in an interview with Joy Business, has been assuring that they will certainly do something to be able to stabilize the cedi.
Policy Committee is watching this very carefully and is next reading to assess the situation and take appropriate action. The Bank of Ghana is also ensuring that we are providing adequate forex liquidity to the markets. We are still in a very strong position because we have good reserves. We have gross reserves of about $6.9 billion. That amounts to about 3.7 months of import cover. So I just want to give assurance to your listeners and those watching this that they shouldn't worry at all. We have adequate reserves to make sure that our banking system is still liquid as FS is concerned. We have stepped up our support in terms of liquidity to the banks. And
you've released some recently, haven't you?
Yeah, we have. We are doing that. I think in September alone, we've done close to 200 million in terms of sales to the banks to support their import needs and to support other forest needs that they will have.
But were the banks reporting any sort of shortage? This extra sale of almost 200 million in September, is it to solve an existing problem?
What we do is that we read the market, we assess the market and try to find out what are the pipeline demands in the market to make sure the corporates are able to import or meet their obligations. And our reading did show that there was a slight pickup in the pipeline FS demand. Because of
Time to wrap up on Business Live tonight, and we've been talking about the cedi, Daryl.
Yeah, and well, just remember that you have to be at the City Center of the University of Ghana, where the Joy FM City Forum will take place. How do we get around all of that? You want to be a part of the discussion. Thanks for watching the show tonight. My name is Daryl Kwao.
And my name is Sandra Esinamapeno. For more news, do log on to myjoyline.com. Thanks for watching.